Okay, we're talking to Mel and Nigel from Psychic Paranormal NZ, based in Hamilton. Welcome, guys.
Hi, thanks, Mark. Nice to be here.
Yeah, good to finally meet you. Yeah, I've seen your names popping up on my Facebook newsfeed from time to time, and I've sort of been checking you out, and it's always good to see new people getting into this field and starting up. And I've always felt that the more eyes and ears and senses and all that and equipment focused on the paranormal, the better. So good on you for doing it. It's always nice to meet new people doing this sort of thing.
Thanks. We haven't been quite going as long as you, but yeah, we love it. Absolutely love it.
Got to start somewhere, eh?
Well, that's right. I mean, we've been doing it for I've been doing it probably for maybe 20 years, and haven't documented any of it. And it was only a year ago that we were like, man, if we could document any of this, or if we could prove any of what's happening, wouldn't that be amazing? And that's what kind of started us.
Yeah, and because this was interesting to start talking to you for a bit, because I mean, for me personally, I come from it from I realize different teams, different groups, and different researchers have different angles of coming to this research. And the way I personally come to it is that I'm there as an observer. I'm also there to document. So it's documentation and observing and being a part of that field. And where you can, you try and put a bit of science in there if you can, but it's very hard, isn't it? It's not always easy to do. So you've got to work with what you've got to work with, and you just sort of go with that journey wherever it takes you. So I think you guys are on a similar path. I mean, I think Mel, you sort of you have the more sort of psychic edge, I guess. And Nigel's
I'm a spiritual medium.
Perhaps.
Yep. So I can see, hear, feel spirit. So I used to work in the spiritualist platform down in Wellington. So I've been a spiritual medium for a long time. And where Nigel is more the logical, why is that EMF meter going off? It's got to be something to do with wires, or why is that toilet flushing? He'll look for the logic side before we look for the scientific side there. Actually, we can't explain this.
I like to find out electricity is an amazing thing. It can make a lot of stuff happen. For example, it can make you feel nauseous. It can just do a lot. Electricity can do a lot of funny things. And of course, when the EMF meter goes off, I'm someone who likes to go, A slots into B because C is equal to D. And if A slots into Z, I want to know why. And that's when Mel and I bounce off each other. We have a little Cocker Spaniel who's our security when we go out on investigations. She's not a bloodhound or anything like that, but she comes with us everywhere.
Ooh.
And this is young babe here, who she is our guard dog of all our equipment.
She's really good though, because she will sense if there's anything around, because animals can pick up on paranormal, so they will sense it and they will pick it up. So if there's something there, she'll tell us. And we have a motel, so we work at the moment. I'm just gonna put her down.
Yeah.
We work at a motel currently. We do 90 hours a week. So for us, unfortunately, it's part-time at the moment, but we leave in November after many years to go full-time. And so that will be really good. But if there's something around in the motel, she'll tell us first.
Great.
Because animals and children are very sensitive.
Yeah, that's right. And you were saying earlier about that you've already picked up on a bit of activity within the hotel.
Yeah, do you want to talk about that?
We have a presence here that our cleaners will note that they won't go into a room because the toilet flushes by itself, or the TV will come on by itself, or the door will lock. And we have fully electronic doors and keycard access. And it's even got to the point where I've been locked in that room where I've had to ring Mel on the phone and go, get up here now and let me out. And it's been a horrible experience. This gentleman passed away 4 years ago.
He did leave, but he's come back. So, yeah, and we've been so busy with COVID and then now it's picked up again. So it's time to have a little chat to him. So, yeah.
Because we even get the guests in the morning, they go, what's going on in this particular room? And we know straight where they are, obviously. And we can't go, oh, there's a spirit in there that's playing up, because they'll run out the door and won't come back. So we get all this information from the guests. We know about it, information from the guests. So it's something that we've got to deal with at some stage, because we know
he needs to go.
Yeah.
He can't stay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And because running a motel, coming out of COVID, it's very busy, very full on. So please excuse how we look after a week of getting woken at 2, 3, 4 in the morning. But yeah, so we sort of, or Mel particularly, I'm sort of more the cameraman, security.
He's sort of my, security in a big way. I would quite happily go on my own. Like, I'm more scared of the living than I am the dead. They don't scare me at all.
Same.
So cemeteries, things like that, love it. Absolutely love it. Be quite happy to go on my own. But I've had a thyroidectomy, so they damaged my vocal cord so I can't scream. So if I got into any trouble, no one would hear me because I can't yell. So he's kind of my security in that side. So if I go down, like way down one end of the house or something and he's at the other, I'll have a little whistle because, I can't yell. So he's good for that.
That sounds like the most perfect paranormal partnership, really, doesn't it? Really, it's just.
Well, after 30 years of marriage, you've got to be useful for something, don't you? So
it's awesome. That's so cool.
Yeah, there's a lot of people say, like, oh, you're only a little team, you're only a husband and wife team, but it actually works really well for us because we been in a motel, we live and work together, so we can handle each other's company.
That's the funny thing, this COVID, what we've noticed at the motel, COVID has changed everyone's persona, moods, mannerisms. Everything's like shifted off kilter.
The energy is really, really heavy in the world. Really heavy.
Yeah. And the same again. That's right.
No.
Exactly.
No.
And we notice a lot of our friends that we've been together 30 years, that have only been together, say 10, 15 years, they're actually ending up in divorce court or separation because being locked down in COVID, they realise they can't stand each other. And being forced together in that situation, they realise these little idiosyncrasies that they thought was love or affection or infatuation was actually an irritant that just wound them up to the point where they pack their bags. And so that's the beauty. Mel and I, we work together, we live together.
Investigate together. I do workshops and private readings, so I have another business as well, spiritual business, and so he helps me with that. But with the paranormal side of it, it's good because he's coming at it from a different angle, and that really helps. And it's not you're not two people running around every 2 seconds going, oh, did you hear that? What was that? What was that? Did you hear that? Oh my God, what was that? Seriously, you don't need to do that. That doesn't happen.
That's right. We've heard from so many people recently, just through the whole sort of lockdown period, that have told us that, oh my God, since this whole lockdown thing's happened, so much activity is happening.
Yeah.
Everything's happening in our house,
Yes.
And my personal view on that is that normally everyone's at work. They're not at home. Now they're at home and they're experiencing things that possibly go on every day when they're not there.
That's right, like the house settling or other things that they don't, as you say, they don't hear because they're not there. And suddenly they think it's paranormal. I've had the same calls and it's like, well, how about you go back to work and then see is it still happening? Oh, it's not. Oh, funny that.
Yeah, but even on a paranormal level, it's like paranormal activity could be happening, but you're just not there to experience it or see it. So maybe the people are noticing it more now that they're at home. I don't know.
Well, I think too now, I mean, telly portrays it a lot different than what it actually is, obviously.
Yeah.
But I think also it's becoming more accepted. It's more it's more accepted to talk about, and you don't have to hide it and say, I think that my house is haunted. You don't have to hide it anymore. It's okay to say it.
Yeah, that's right. It's not such a taboo subject anymore. People are starting to come out about it now and talk about it, and it's science is starting to catch up. They're starting to sort of take an interest now because there are so many people doing it, so many people looking now, and with cell phones, everyone's filming it. So it's becoming quite open now, and it's quite refreshing. I'm quite enjoying it.
One thing that we pride ourselves on, I'm someone, I would rather debunk something.
And have a video of nothing happening.
And there's, how can I put it? I've seen it a lot. I'm someone who's got to see something to believe it, and then I've got to logically understand why that's happening. And Mel shows me these videos on YouTube, TV, whatever. She goes, look at this, look at this, look at this. And I go, but there's the fishing wire. I can clearly see it. I do not like...
Fakers.
Thank you. I'll put it that way. We will never, ever, ever, a million trillion times over fake anything. What we capture is what we capture.
And if I capture nothing, then there's nothing to capture.
That's right. That's right. It's the way it is. That's the nature of the field. It's like, I mean, from what I can tell, genuine paranormal experiences are not, they're quite sort of rare. They're quite rare. They don't happen all the time. You turn a video camera on.
Yeah.
I find it amazing that every single person that I've met that has decided to make a documentary about the paranormal has always captured amazing evidence. Everybody I've known, whether it be from Australia, the States, the UK, they all have amazing things happen. Yet when I spend all my life going to these places, I hardly experience anything. You got to sit there for many, many sessions to experience one.
Yes, and many hours.
Yeah.
And what we put on the internet is like a fraction of how long we've actually spent there to get this tiny little bit of evidence.
Yeah. So how long have you guys been doing this thing? Like separately or together, or?
So we've been doing it together for a year. As I say, I have been a medium, spiritual medium for a long time, and so I picked up a lot of stuff when I would go and do blessings and clearings on houses. And then we lived in a house that was actually very haunted, and things did happen where flutes would play on the bed of our children at the end of the night, and they'd be fast asleep, and things would move. And so we had experienced it, and then it was just the more and more I was being called on to help people, and found that some of it was true. I was like, actually, it would be quite good to document this, and more equipment was coming out so we could scientifically prove what I was seeing, hearing, feeling, and that's been really cool. So, but only in the past year, we've been doing it just part-time when we get time off, which is very rare. But I'd like to get into it more in November when we leave the motel.
Yeah, it's a fascinating field to be a part of. It really is.
Oh, I love it. I get so much enjoyment out of it.
And in all honesty, I'll put the invite. If you are interested, we'll quite happily put you up as our guest for a weekend.
Yeah, come and visit our resident man.
And as our guest and experience Waikato. Unfortunately, I'm a Hurricanes man, and the Chiefs are up here in the Waikato, so I have to keep my head very low and very cautious about that. But yeah, we put that extend that invitation to be our guest, and we can show you around this particular room, and just.
And you guys went to you've done a couple of visits at Naked Prison, haven't you?
Yep, love it. Yep, great place.
So we also did a visit at Naked Prison. I haven't even had time to edit it yet. So we, my best friend's grandmother was an inmate at the Naked Prison. So how it all sort of came together was a TV crew got a hold of her and said, well, look, we want to do a segment on your grandmother. So can you meet us down in Napier? And so she was like, oh, well, I've got a friend who's a psychic medium. Can she come? And like, yeah, that'd be great. So we went there 103 years to the day.
To the day that
she shot somebody to get put in there. And the TV crew took us around the jail, the courthouse, what used to be the original courthouse, which is now Department of Conservation.
Actually went to the original cell is still there, so we managed to go down into the cell.
It was amazing.
For any of the viewers, it's Alice May Parkinson.
Yeah, so I'm doing a story on her. So they've done so the Navy prison asked us to come in and do a night visit there. So we did, but we hadn't planned on doing a visit there for very long. So we only got to spend probably only about an hour there filming, which was just so brilliant. So they've invited us back, and it would be great if, imagine if we could all go. You already having been there, we've been there, so they know us all, and that would be really good because that was such a cool place to visit.
Yeah. Well, I was talking to Ellie recently about it. She's recently left the prison there.
Oh, has she? I haven't spoken to her.
Yeah, she's moved on. But yeah, we're keen to go back. We're keen to go back. So yeah, there's plenty of cells there and a lot of area to check out. So damn, we're keen to do a road trip anytime. So easy to organise, very easy.
Yeah, no, that sounds great. It was just good to be going there from a story perspective rather than just a paranormal investigation as well, so that we actually had a specific person at the jail we wanted to talk to who wasn't alive anymore, and just the things we picked up. So yeah, it was pretty cool.
We followed it up even going to Tikakino in the Hawke's Bay, where Alice May grew up as a child and was remanded when she was released from Addington prison. We even got the behind-the-scenes permission down at Addington.
Oh, we went to Addington too,
prison,
so that was cool.
Where she was housed down there. And from that, we finalised the documentary with Tikakino, where she lived. Actually, the tenant of that house, really cool guy by the name of Paul, wondered what we were doing. Obviously, Tikakino is a small rural place, and here's these guys with cameras, and he invited us in for coffee, tea, biscuits. We got to see where Alice May as a young girl grew up.
And those sort of houses, those houses that are over 100 years old, I mean, they're fun to investigate.
I know. You've been down to Dunedin, right? Yes, Phil?
Heaps of them.
You've been down to Dunedin?
I lived there, but I haven't investigated there. I would love to do Larned Castle because, when I was very young, I could always sense a lot of activity there, but...
I'm sorry, I may get shot for this, but you will never, ever get me back into...
I know, you don't like the
Really?
thing.
I loved it. I was only there for a few days. I've been there a couple of times and just...
Try being a furniture revivalist for 30 years, humping furniture up and down the hills of Wellington and Dunedin. That's why I loathe ice, trucks sliding away, humping furniture, moving people in and out, and...
I'll let you off that one then.
Yeah.
And even took a semi up to Larned Castle by mistake. So
see, investigating will be a whole different thing. So we'll work on that one.
Yeah. Okay. So, what are some of your favourite places? Do you do mainly sort of private home investigations, or have you done quite a few other historical places?
No, usually mainly private homes, just because of our job, and given that we only get so many days off. As I say, we did the naked prison. We were asked to go and do a house over in Waihi, and where's that lady's house that we did the blessing on the outside? Tauranga. So we haven't had time yet to go and do theatres and things like that. That's what I'd really like to do.
One I would love to do is, I think it's the St. James in Wellington. I think it's called the old St. James in Wellington.
Yeah.
Now...
And they do, there is some people that do take people through on ghost tours.
Yeah. Being a Wellingtonian, I've been...
Yeah, we're ex-Wellingtonians, so...
Oh, really?
So I've been there many a time, and it's... the old spider senses go off quite a bit. But when you're there for concerts and all that, you're more interested in what you're there for rather than what's going on. But yeah, it's something that's evolving, and it's really a passion for us, and it's getting to that stage where when we leave the motel and get more time freer to ourselves, we
just travel more.
Yeah. Because at the end of the day, life is way too short, and you got to do what you enjoy, and what makes you happy. And I know from Mel's perspective, the spiritual side of it, which I'm not saying I don't disbelieve what she does or the ability she has, because I've seen it, so I know that's true. Me personally, as I say, I'm someone who likes logical answers, so...
And it's only when there's no logical answer that he's...
That's when I freak out.
Okay, yeah, maybe there's something here.
Yeah. Oh, it's good to look at all angles. I try and look at all angles. I mean, admittedly, I have met a lot of flakes in this field. There are a lot of nutters out there, but there are a lot of genuine people out there with, genuine intent and genuine gifts and skills and knowledge and all that. So I think all together, working together, it's just I feel that everybody should be pulling together all their resources.
Oh, I agree.
Or anything.
What's your favourite place?
Well, there was a time that I would sort of scoff at the whole medium psychic thing. It just didn't really do anything for me. It wasn't for me personally. But I've sort of been around. As you sort of spend more time in it, you sort of you become a bit more, accepting of everybody else's different ways of looking at things.
Yeah.
And everybody has their own little skills and things that they can pull into the field. And
absolutely. And sometimes when there's things you can't explain, you have to, sit back and think, well, are we really the only ones out there?
Right. That's right. And also it's like, because we're working in a field that is such a huge unknown, who am I to say that what you're doing is wrong, or for you to say that anybody else what they're doing is wrong, because we don't know. We don't know. And there is no wrong way or dumb way of doing things, because it's everything goes at this point.
Great philosophy.
Everything's worth trying, everything is worth experimenting with, and anything goes. And
I mean, you're in Auckland, so you've got a lot of places, and your scope is huge of the places that you can go to. You're very fortunate there.
Yeah, we've found it a bit hard though. I mean, a lot of people don't like the whole sort of haunting reputation, and they don't want to have us coming in there and talking about ghosts and spreading the word that their place might be haunted. So yeah, we do find we do get a lot of rejection ourselves. It's not really easy in Auckland. It's taken us a long time to build up reputations with historical societies and all that, and that all comes with time and just doing it and working together. So yeah, it's not easy. It's not easy. I don't think it's easy anywhere in New Zealand. I know James Gilbert down in Wellington. He's been doing it. He's had his team running for longer than I have, and he still finds it hard now to find places, because you've got earthquake compliance thing now where buildings aren't really safe, and then just people aren't that accepting of letting people in, I guess, to do paranormal investigations. So he finds it hard as well. So
it is, and you're right, because I remember another motel we heard about in the Hawke's Bay was very, very haunted, and as soon as they knew that we were going to promote it as a haunted place, no way.
The Masonic?
They want to be known there.
The Masonic?
Yes.
We did the Masonic many years ago. They let us in there. I think we were probably one of the first teams to get in there, and we did a full report. It was mentioned in one of my books. It was we put it out there, and I think they decided afterwards that I don't think we should have let these people in. I've tried to get back in numerous times, and they've said no, straight up no. And I know a lot of other teams have gone in there and tried, and they've said no, straight up. I think they've kind of regretted the decision of letting us in there at some point.
So it's all your fault.
I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong. We did behave ourselves, and we were very professional, but I think they sort of regretted the decision, because people were turning up wanting to see ghosts and do paranormal investigations and all that. And same with Waitomo Caves Hotel. The Waitomo Caves Hotel, I think they've decided now, they've got new management, so they've decided they don't want the whole sort of haunting reputation now.
Yeah, we heard about that as well.
Yeah. They're trying to get rid of that now, which is impossible. It's world renowned as being one of the most haunted.
It is. Absolutely.
You can't really ditch that now. You just have to go with it. So
Yeah.
There's a property in the Hawke's Bay. We stayed at the new development of it probably 8 months ago. And we got talking to the duty manager of this property, and the original establishment motel is still standing in Napier. And we just got chatting, and she was blown away, and she's like, do you want to film now? And of course, we didn't have our equipment. We didn't have anything. So
some are open to it because, as I say, because it's becoming more acceptable now, they'll get people that want to stay there because of that reason, and so that gives them the business. But then, as you say, there's those that don't want to be known as that. That'll freak people out too much, and so they'll just we don't want to be known as that.
yeah, I know the Vulcan Hotel down in St Bathans. They've got a big sign out the front saying, one of New Zealand's haunted locations. Yeah, they just
So they're embracing it.
they love it. Yeah.
Yeah.
They got a big sign out the front advertising it. They just love it. It's great, and it works for them.
Yeah, good on
them. Smaller places, maybe. I don't know.
if you ever get down to the West Coast, Franz Joseph, where we lived and ran a resort for 4 years, there is an old church on the outskirts as you leave Franz Joseph on the left-hand side, St. Michael's. It is open 24/7.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Go there at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really cool.
We've got some pretty impressive footage that I'm still trying to debunk. I'll put it that way.
You can't.
At 3 o'clock in the morning, West Coast, pitch black, St. Michael's, and it's open 24/7. You can go in there anytime you like. And so if you ever get to the West Coast...
Even the old mental asylum in
Hokitika, we went there.
Was cool. That was really cool. We were there during the day.
Yeah.
I would absolutely love to get permission to go there at night, because we got permission to go there during the day, and
I think part of it is a backpackers. You can stay there at night, so we might follow up on that, because that would be really cool. It's huge. It's huge, and it's abandoned, apart from the part that is a backpackers, and it's great. So yeah, that's on our bucket list for early next year.
And it's from the historical factor. You just stand there. It's on the top of the cliffs of Hokitika, West Coast. Beautiful scenery.
Sea cliff, isn't it? Sea cliff.
Yeah, and you just take in 120 years of history and what it would have been like, and without being schizophrenic or anything like that, you can actually almost hear the screaming and the carry-ons, and when you look in the buildings,
there's got to be energy left over in those sort of buildings.
Yeah. There's also a forest right beside it. There's a forest that I've heard a lot of reports from people that have been there, and there has been screaming coming out of the forest. There's been lights seen spinning around, not torch lights, but sort of small spheres of light sort of shooting through the forest.
Wow, we see the West Coast is very known for the unknown.
Yeah. So that forest is meant to be pretty damn haunted as well. So, yeah, worth looking into.
Definitely.
So, what are some of the places you've been through? I mean, can you run us through some of the places you've been through since you've been going? What are some of the good ones you've had, activity-wise?
Probably the house in Waihi, the Napier prison, the house in Stokes Valley.
The house in Stokes Valley. Probably
really,
the best one.
really bad one in Stokes Valley.
Really?
I have to research that. It's on the West Coast. It's the cemetery now. Do not ask me how. Do not ask me why. We found it. It is in. It's not even on a map.
It doesn't even have a sign.
Now, I don't know if my GPS was off, whatever, and I took the wrong turn. I'll never admit that after 30 years of marriage, but of course, us males, we don't need maps. We know where we go. We come across the cemetery.
Just in the middle of the bushes. It was just, oh my goodness.
And it was from the 1890s, 1870s, 80s, 90s. And to me, that in itself was probably the best. I mean,
I wanted to stay there at night, but
no way.
I was quite happy to stay there overnight. I was like, just leave me here, come back and get me. He's like, nah.
just the history of it was all the Chinese miners and all the immigrants that passed away forging the land and
like it was in the middle of all these sheep and it was just it was really hidden.
Pretty cool.
Yeah,
you had some activity there. Something happened, or
just you could see things out of the corner of your eyes, even if you weren't spiritually inclined, you would still see things moving, and there'd be no wind, and bits of grass would look like someone had stood on them, and then they'd pop back up, and there'd be nothing around. So yeah, it was pretty cool.
I guess for me, even though it was a beautiful day, there was always that feeling that someone was behind me. I was always looking over my shoulder. I was always, and I know the mind can play amazing tricks on you. You can scare yourself. You can work yourself up into such a lather. You can scare yourself. I mean, I'm a middle-aged man, middle of the day, nothing to be scared of, but there was always that foreboding feeling that someone was behind me, and I was forever looking and just kind of seeing these things and going, what was that? Is that a shadow? Is that? So that's why that one to me is the most memorable.
Although I really liked that motel that we had in Wellington where we'd sleep downstairs and there was a conference room upstairs and we could hear somebody at night walking. So we'd race up and try to find out who it was. Nobody there at all. Go back downstairs, nice and quiet, and then you'd hear these footsteps above you again. You're like, what on earth is that? So race up there again, nobody there. And then we asked one of the cleaners the next day, and she's like, oh yeah, that's so-and-so. He jumped off the roof, and we're like, okay. So then after that, we were just like, hello, we're trying to sleep, and it was all quiet.
That case there, I remember it very vividly because once Mel spoke to this gentleman and found out what was going on and everything else.
He was good.
It was 2 days later, I had a conference up there and I was prepping it. Now, this is like 11 o'clock in the morning and I'd just sort of been out there, cleared the morning tea and was taking up the lunch and everything. And as I walked up the stairs, I don't know if you've ever walked into the chiller of a big supermarket or those flappy doors and you walk through them and it was like that. It was an absolute blast of just freezing cold air. And the only way I can explain it, to me, I explain it that I missed my foot on the step and I slipped backwards, but it was like a force was pushing me back. And I just put it down to the window was open, it was cold, but then of course Mel tuned in and
it wasn't the case.
It wasn't the case.
And so it was kind of things like that made us realise, man, if we could have documented all that, how cool would that have been to show people that these things happen? And that's really why we started it.
Yeah. Okay. So what sort of gear do you guys have? I mean, do you have any bits of equipment that you prefer to use, or?
Well, we've just got the SLS camera, which is my favourite tool. And so we have the spirit box. I love my spirit box. I get a lot of activity through my spirit box. I did a session at my mum's grave, and she came through the spirit box. And we have the usual stuff, your EMF meters and recorders and K2 meters and dowsing rods and the usual paranormal backpack that you take with you.
Yeah, dowsing rods. That's something that I've only really started to sort of. I've never really delved into until I went over to Scotland recently, and a friend of mine, Liam, who runs Highland Paranormal over there, he uses dowsing rods quite a bit. And so I went out on an investigation with them, and they were using dowsing rods quite a bit. And that was my first experience with dowsing rods, and it was quite interesting. I'd never really been opened or exposed to them before, and.
The thing about dowsing rods go back a very long way when they used to use them to look for water.
Yeah. I'm always just a bit put off about the fact that people are holding them in their hands. If they were mounted,
I'm with you on that, yeah.
If they were mounted.
No, you're moving it. I'm like, I'm not. I'm steady. He's like, no, you're moving it. I'm like, I'm not. Seriously, and it's like going like this and yeah.
I know. I can't say I'm 100% sold, just to be honest with you, but
yeah.
I've seen so many people using them and they swear by them. I think, okay, it's like also the spirit box. That's another one I'm sort of a little bit about the spirit box, but a lot of people swear by them and say, if they're bringing in evidence, well, you've got to pay attention. So.
Yeah, well, there's new ones out there. There's ones that people download on their phone. There's this new craze going around at the moment, the necrophonic app. I'm not a fan of that. To me, that's just a big dictionary with 5,000 words programmed into it. But some paranormal investigators, they do like it. So as you say, it's each to their own. Like what equipment? What would your favourite piece of equipment be?
Mine. For me personally, mine's just a video camera.
Yeah.
Because I'm personally wanting to document. I observe and I document, so I want to record the video and I want to hear the audio. So to me, a video camera is compact, and you're getting the video and the audio all in one package. Other data is fine too, like thermometers and EMF meters and all that. That's fine too. But for me, it's like a visual and audio thing. Everyone has their own preferences of what they're into. And
that's why Nigel likes that. He's more, what he can. When we go to do the editing, and then you're like, I never heard that come through the camera at the time, but then you hear it later, and you're like, wow, well, you can't dispute that because there was nobody there but us.
Yeah. I have to admit, for me, the SLS camera is a tool that I'm getting very intrigued with. Because of its function and what it does and what it picks up.
And we've only just started using it.
Yeah, so I'm still a novice on reading it and deciphering it. However, what I've seen, I haven't been able to explain, so I'm still working on that. My brain is still logically trying to go, well, hang on, why is that doing that? So
I found them really good for experimenting with and also thinking outside the box with, because those SLS cameras, the Kinect sensors, they are prone to pareidolia as well, and their little eye will look at curtains and chairs and try and make a figure out of it. But
we did it outside.
Try and use it to your advantage and get that stick figure to do things that you're asking it to do. If you can ask that stick figure to put its arm up in the air, and do this, and it starts doing that.
And we've done that.
From just being random pareidolia.
Yeah, when we first got it, we took it outside, and I'm like, wow, look at that. That's so cool. It's picking up stick figure. And Nigel's like, no, that's the sunshade. And I'm like, oh, crap.
Because, picked up the sunshade and made a figure out of it.
Yeah, and then later on we did it, and we got a form on it, and I put my arm out, and I said to them, okay, put your arm out, exactly what you just said, put your arm out and touch my hand. And they actually did. Yeah. And so that was evidence that we couldn't say, well, that's not a sunshade or a tree or a chair or a mannequin. It actually did what I asked it to do. But I agree, sometimes it's going to pick up something that's static and you think, yes, it's got something that's like, well, no, not really.
Yeah, it's like I think most of the gadgets that are out there, a lot of them are just sort of made for entertainment purposes, but you can still adapt them to your own research. And you can still, so like, for example, spirit boxes or even those random word generators, like as you're saying about the necrophonic. Okay, it might have 200 or 500 words programmed into it, but what if you can say, okay, ask them a question and where it requires a word that isn't in that dictionary, a name,
I agree.
Things outside of what it's actually made for, then I think you've actually got something worth looking into. If you can experiment with it and get answers outside of what it's designed for and what it's designed for its memory, then it's worth carrying on.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we don't have the Ovilus, but I have seen the Ovilus do that, and I've thought the same thing. I'm like, okay, here's something that's got all these words into it as well. But as you say, if you're asking a specific question and you get the exact answer, how does it know to pull that word out of that dictionary? So, it is all experimenting with it.
Yeah, that's right. It's all experimentation. It's all worth trying. I haven't dismissed anything. I mean, I've given up using things like spirit boxes, but other people in the team still swear by them and still want to experiment with them. So I say, okay, you go for it. You experiment with them and I'll do my experimentations, and together, it all pulls together. So it still works.
Absolutely.
It's still, everything's worth trying. So in your time doing this, what have you found is the most demanding aspect of paranormal research?
For me, is distinguishing there's a lot of paranoia out in the world, and it's people distinguishing what's paranoid and paranormal. And I use an example in Wainuiamata. We had this lady who was beside herself, her and her family and kids, absolutely beside that. They thought their house was Amityville Horror. I mean, just, they wouldn't sleep in there, they wouldn't go in there, they smelt these smells, just all this sort of stuff. And they were saying there was scratching in the walls, and it was like fingernails down a chalkboard and all this sort of thing, and stuff up in the attic and all this sort of stuff. So we went in there, and as I say, I go in with a totally logical mind. I go in there going, rightio, let's see what ABC's doing. Now, one of the things that transpired, they had an old fridge freezer that the condenser coil on the back had parted company with the motor and was sitting up against the wall, and this fridge freezer during the night moved, as they do, and it was scratching the wall.
Oh, okay.
And just purely because they'd gone on and on and on and on, they thought they'd wound themselves up so much. Then going up into the attic, I actually got physically bled. Something pushed me down the ladder and cut my head. Up in the attic was this old chest that no one knew about. The house was 90 years old, and inside there was these newspaper clippings and everything else about a fire that had happened at this house.
And we smelt the fire.
And tragically, someone passed away in this fire in this house. And it was in this old, nearly 100-year-old chest up in the attic.
Amazing.
So that type of thing, I mean, it's physical evidence. Here is a newspaper from 80, 90 years going on about the fire in this house that tragically killed someone.
That no one knew about.
Well,
at the house.
Yeah, but someone previously had got the clipping, put it in, there was photos of the house and all this in this box. So that was a tangible bit of physical evidence. The fridge and all that explained all that. And so once we sat them down and explained to them that, you know, they'd built themselves up being paranoid about noises and all that, they were fine. So for me, I believe in what Mel does. I believe in what she sees, hears, senses, and everything else. And I've seen the physical proof. I can't debunk it, so I believe it.
Yeah.
But other stuff, I try and logically just go, right, there's got to be a reason for that. And it's the ones that I cannot definitively say that's the reason. That's what.
And they're the ones where I'll try to, sometimes ghosts do get stuck. So I'm not interested in those people that go in and taunt them and make fun of them and call them out and, you know, oh, well, if you're here, scratch me or, you know, poke me or hit me on the head or throw something at me. And, or if you need my help, then do something. And so they do something and then they walk away because they've caught something on film. And it's like, well, no, that's reached out to you. Sorry, that's not how we work. So we do also try to help, or I do, from the other side as well.
It's got to be respect, eh? It's got to be respect there. I mean, I've seen so many teams out there. You'll see them and they'll put all their videos on YouTube and they'll say, oh, something like, okay, if you want us to leave, let us know. If you want us to leave, let us know and we'll go. And of course, something might happen and they just carry on filming and they don't go. Say, well, no, that's disrespectful. You've told them that you'll go. Yeah. And they've trusted you.
Exactly.
You know, and you're not going. Whether it was them that made the noise or not, I don't know. It's but you know, still you've asked for something happens, you made a promise and you're breaking that promise. So how are they going to trust you?
Yes.
I'm pretty big on the whole sort of habituation sort of idea about returning, revisiting locations over and over and over again, and hopefully, you know, whatever's there might sort of get to know you and become familiar with you.
Building that trust up.
It is, and we've sort of found it. There's a couple of places we've had in the past where we've been lucky to have the place for over 2 years. And we've done over like 20-something investigations of those locations. So we've had a few places like that where you just keep going back and you get more and more activity the more times you go. And it's almost like they're becoming more familiar with you. I like that idea. I think it's a nice idea.
See, one piece of equipment I really want to get, because is a motion sensor. It's a piece of equipment. I don't feel bad. I could have a coffee now.
Of course.
I would want to get some motion sensors, because you can't be everywhere at once. And I just like the idea of covering the whole spectrum of where you are, and then you can review it later on and all that sort of thing.
It helps with the debunking as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Noises in this room. Sorry, I'm a bit distracted. I keep hearing noises in this room. The room I'm in at the moment, it's this tiny little bedroom in our house, and it's where I store all my haunted objects.
Yes, I can see them in the background. You've even got a Chucky in the background.
Oh, that's just one of mine. That's not haunted. But there's a lot of objects in here that have been passed on to me, like Ouija boards and haunted dolls and all sorts of stuff, and people have just gotten rid of them, but they don't want them.
Sorry, just on that, the Ouija boards is one thing that will never, ever, ever be allowed in my house or in my vicinity, or
that's fine. Again, that's
just my personal.
He's going to show you.
I just.
Okay, when you come to visit, best you leave that with you.
and again, it's like you're saying, it's personal preference or that. To me, I just.
Oh yeah, I see it.
That's 120 years old. Aaron. Oh gosh. Yes, I've got this.
Yeah, see, I just have a thing about Ouija boards. Call it whatever you want. I absolutely loathe them with.
And again, that is a personal preference. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is. It's right. I mean, I get them because people give them to me. I've only ever bought one in my life, but I've got about 12 of them now, and
wow.
So I sort of use them within my own research, and I've got lots of haunted, dolls, and like I don't know if you can see these ones here.
Yeah.
A few dolls there.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, all these ones here. These are all haunted.
Wow.
They've been given to me through the years by people that have claimed all sorts of activity, and so.
That's cool. You'll end up being like, what's that guy, Zach's museum, haunted museum. Having his haunted.
Oh, yeah.
So that's one thing that Mel's taught me is energy can transfer itself to dolls or objects, places, and that's one thing I have learned from Mel is accepting that fact.
Things can have an attachment to a building, to an object, to a person, and that's sometimes where hauntings come into play.
Yeah, that's an aspect we're sort of researching at the moment. Actually, we've spent a few nights sleeping in old antique stores and things. They let us in, and we spend the night sleeping there. And they've got a lot of objects here which are claimed to have had attachments, which I sort of keep them locked up in this room. I've got a couple of cameras aimed at them. I don't think I've had anything happen so far, and I've had them for many years, but hey, you don't know if you don't try.
Absolutely, because you'll get that one and you'll be like, thank goodness I had that camera pointing at it. I got it finally.
Yeah. Well, we do hear sounds. I hear scuffling sounds and all that, and we always think, oh yeah, one of the cats is locked in the room again, because sometimes the cat, if they see the door open, if I'm in here, they'll sneak in and they'll kind of hide under the boxes.
Yeah.
But no, I've heard the old shuffling sound in here, which I've come in to investigate, and I haven't seen anything moved, but it's a bit of a mess at the moment, so I couldn't tell anyway if something had moved. But
there looks some pretty interesting objects in there.
Yeah, and it's the coldest room in the house too.
I wonder why.
Yeah. That's quite neat. I quite like that. Okay, it keeps me busy, doesn't it? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Doing worse
do you do this full time, or do you work as well?
I have a full-time job. I'm off work at the moment. Broke my wrist.
Oh, no.
Fractured my wrist, smashed the bones and all that. So I've just had surgery recently. So I'm off work for 3 months apparently. So
what did you try and do during COVID lockdown?
I had to work. I was considered essential, so I had to work. I work in the printing industry, so that's considered.
Oh yeah.
essential because they print food packaging and stuff. So I had to work through. And then after the lockdown, bang, I had my accident at work and.
Oh no.
Yeah. But anyway, so I'm off work for 3 months, so trying to heal myself. But that gives me a chance to do these little things with you guys and you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Keep networking, and I've got time to do that now, so use it wisely.
Exactly.
After this, I'll share all your contact details and page details. I'll put them on this website when I post it. Got any tips for anybody that wants to get into this field?
I think don't go in, as Nigel said, there's a difference. There's paranormal and paranoid. So if you don't go in without an open mind, like don't go in with fear, energies can feed on fear as well. So if you're going to be scared, and if you're scared of the dark, don't become a paranormal investigator, because you're not going to do very well. That would be my biggest thing, is think logically, don't be afraid, and nothing can physically hurt you. They can't physically hurt you. And that's the biggest advice I would give, is you can't be physically hurt, so you don't need to be afraid. Because if you show that fear, then you're just going to make yourself more paranoid, and you're not going to capture anything or get anything scientific that can help you. So yeah, if you are afraid, don't become an investigator.
That's right. From what I've read, most people get injured running away or just going to places that they shouldn't be going into in the first place. That's their own stupidity. It's their own, they're just not thinking, and it's their own stupidity that gets them in positions. So, all right, guys, lovely talking to you.
Excellent. Well, it was lovely to chat with you too, and we look forward to you coming down. We'll keep in contact. You can come down here before we leave, and then we'll try and all get together and go and do a visit in Napier.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you guys are only about, what, an hour or so away from us? So
yeah, about an hour and a half.
Hour and a half, yeah.
Yeah, so that's easy. That's no problem. All right. We'll do it. We'll sort it.
Excellent.
Well, you got plenty of time with your arm, so
yeah. No excuse.
And the crazy thing is, now that this has happened to me, we've suddenly got really, really busy because of the lockdown period. Everybody wants us to come in. So we've got every weekend now booked up for the next 2 months of investigations. And of course, I'm on drugs and, for pain relief and all that sort of stuff. And I'm just not into it.
My little tip for doing paranormal investigations: don't do it on drugs either.
Yeah, don't do it on alcohol or drugs.
Pain medication. I want to, pain medication. It's all legal. It's all legal. Okay, guys. Thanks so much, guys. I'll
awesome to catch up with you,
and we'll talk soon. Okay.
Excellent. Okay. Sounds great. Take care.
Fantastic. See you later, guys.
Bye.